Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Cycle on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Godwin Sunday. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and StarTimes channel 276. You can download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcasts. And now to the news. The 2025 Hajj operations officially commenced in Imo State with the inaugural flight flag-off ceremony held at the Sam Mbakwe International Cargo Airport, Owerri. The event, which drew religious and political leaders from across the country, was graced by Vice President of Nigeria, Senator Kashim Shettima, who flagged it off. Representing President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Vice President Kashim Shettima described the commencement of Hajj operations from Imo State as a symbol of inclusiveness, national unity, and religious harmony. President Bola Tinubu says the federal government is taking concrete steps to protect the dignity and future of every Nigerian child, noting that plans have been concluded to establish a child protection and development agency to coordinate all issues affecting Nigerian children in a unified and focused manner. The president, who was represented by his vice Kashim Shettima, made this known during first regional meeting of the African Pathfinders country of the Global Alliance on Ending Violence Against Children. The Kogi State Judicial Service Commission has ordered the compulsory retirement of a Judge, Alemeru Adekunle Bamidele, of the area court over misconduct. The commission also suspended Magistrate Tanimu Mohammed from adjudicatory duties for 2 years and issued him a warning later. These decisions were taken at the JSC's 137th meeting held in Lokoja, according to a statement by the Secretary to the Commission, Dr. Tanko Mohammed. The commission, however, acquitted 4 others accused of various alleged offences, and they are Magistrate Abdul Musa Mopa, Yunusa Medugu Deborah, OQ Ebeloma Esquire, and Aniu Safia Ohiza. The Arewa Consultative Forum, ACF, has called on the government at all levels and Nigerians living in flood-prone areas to take urgent and proactive steps to mitigate the anticipated impact of the 2025 seasonal floods. The forum was reacting to recent predictions by the Nigerian Hydrological Services Agencies, NHSI, which listed 1,249 communities across 176 local government areas in 30 states, including 16 in the North and Federal Capital Territory, FCT, as likely areas to be affected by floods this year. In a statement issued by its National Publicity Secretary, Professor Tuku Muhammad Baba, the ACF expressed concern that the floods may worsen existing socio-economic hardships across the country. The President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, has taken a swipe at Labour Party's 2023 presidential candidate, Peter Obi, over recent remarks suggesting that the labor of our heroes past is all in vain. Speaking during a valedictory section in honor of the late Chief Edwin Clark, Akpabio advised Obi to resolve internal crisis within his party before aspiring to lead the country. Kike Lomo Okeri completes the story.
The President of the Senate questioned the Labour Party's 2023 presidential candidate's ability to address major national issues like insecurity if he is unable to manage leadership disputes within the Labour Party. Akpabio says aspiring leaders must first demonstrate competence in managing party affairs as a sign of readiness for national leadership. He also raised concern about the divisive nature of the social media, calling it an unregulated space that can spread misinformation and deepen political tension. The President of the Senate urged all political figures, including Obi, to focus on unifying their parties before setting their sights on national office.
Let our brother Peter Obi show leadership like Edwin Clark did by resolving first the crisis in the Labour Party. For a man who wants to run Nigeria, you have one of the smallest parties in Nigeria, and you cannot even resolve the crisis in that Labour Party. Is it the crisis of Boko Haram that you will come and resolve in Nigeria?
The valedictory service was organized in recognition of Clark's service as a senator during Nigeria's Second Republic. Senator paid glowing tribute, describing him as a tireless advocate for justice, a champion for marginalized, and a national figure whose legacy continued to inspire generations. A minute silence was observed in his honor. Kikelomo Okeri, Global Television News.
The House of Representatives has passed for a second reading a bill for an act to establish the National Electoral Offences Commission. The sponsor of the bill, Honorable Adebayo Olusegun Balogun, explained that the proposed commission is intended to relieve the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, of the responsibility of prosecuting electoral offences and offenders. Queen Agaba has more on this news.
Honorable Adebayo Olusegun Balogun says the duty of electoral offenders should be handled by an independent agency. He noted that INEC is currently overwhelmed by the burden of managing electoral offences, which in turn undermines the integrity of the electoral process.
INEC as an agency has been overwhelmed by the responsibility of prosecuting all these offenders, and because of that, many offenders are not being prosecuted, and this is not really giving credibility to the institution of INEC. So that is the reason why Nigerians are calling for the independence of an agency that will be taking care of electoral offences.
The House of Representatives has also resolved to investigate the immediate and underlying causes behind the government's failure to pay contractors for completed projects. During the debate, some lawmakers voiced concerns over the widespread abandonment of projects across the country, attributing it to the government's inability to settle outstanding payments to contractors.
Every time you lose in releasing money to a contractor or to somebody executing project for you, you are equally losing the time of completion and the skyrocketing cost of projects. That is the rates at which a contractor puts to execute. The lack of releases, like you didn't mention, is affecting a lot of things. Some people have invested their money through the actualization of the projects, but because of the lack of releases, they couldn't continue, they couldn't complete, and in a way, that is also putting the local contractors in.
This decision followed the adoption of a motion of urgent public importance moved by Honorable Nnamdi Ezechi. For Global Television, Queen Agaba reporting.
The House of Representatives has urged the federal government to establish compressed natural gas conversion centers equally across the country to give all Nigerians a sense of belonging. It also mandated the Committee on Gas Resources to ensure compliance and report back within 4 weeks. Uyi Agbomofegbe takes it from here.
The resolution followed a motion by Honorable Aliyu Madaki, who noted that while the presidential compressed natural gas aims to lower living costs and reduce environmental pollution, the distribution of conversion centers has been uneven. He expressed concern that apart from Kaduna, no states in the northwest or northeast benefits from the initiative, despite the commercial viability of states like Kano, Borno, Katsina, and Sokoto. Some lawmakers also contributed to the debates, expressing worry over the exclusion of commercially viable states such as Kano, Borno, Katsina, and Sokoto from the initiative.
Aware that for the takeoff of the Presidential Compressed Gas Initiative, the federal government proposed to establish CNG combustion centers in some states, including Abia, Bayelsa, Cross River, and Ebonyi, with 1 center each, while Akwa Ibom has 5 centers, Delta 9 centers, Edo with 11 centers, Ekiti with 7 centers, Enugu and Kogi with 3 centers, FCT Abuja 3 centers, Kaduna with 10 centers,
Kwara with 8 centers, and Lagos with 70 centers.
We are calling for the policy implementers to please vindicate this government. We know government has done their best, but let the policy makers consider Northeast. There is no single CNG center in the whole of Northeast sub-region.
But look at the entire northeast of this part of this country was completely ignored. And look at the 80% of the northwest corridor of this country was completely exempted. That is the corridors, not even the cities. The corridors where commuters will fly. And then the main aim of this initiative is to give relief to the Nigerian masses occasioned by the transitive hardship as a result of fuel subsidy.
The House of Representatives has also called on the federal government to collaborate with state governments to construct additional National Youth Service Corps orientation camps and expand existing ones to accommodate at least 5,000 corps members in every state of the Federation. The House also urged the Federal Ministry of Youth, in partnership with relevant stakeholders, to develop a clear framework for achieving the construction and expansion of these camps.
That some states lack orientation camps to accommodate and meet the increasing number of corps members deployed, while other states temporarily utilize secondary schools buildings to accommodate prospective corps members. Disturbed by the current dilapidated state of permanent orientation camps in the country, which is causing dissatisfaction due to inadequate facilities, overstretching the existing facilities, leaving corps members with no options other than to be.
This resolution followed the adoption of a motion moved by Honorable Garaba Muhammad. Uyi Agmofwebe, reporting for Global TV News.
The Nigerian Navy has commissioned 60,000-litre solar-powered motorized borehole and solar lighting units around the perimeter Bayanwaya community, Katongora local government area of Niger State. The Chief of Naval Staff, CNS Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, who was officially represented at the event by the Chief of Naval Transportation, Rear Admiral Monday Unohere, says the water project is a milestone in the Nigerian Navy's civil-military cooperation initiative. Kikelomo Okere has the details.
Water is essential to life. It is the bedrock of food security, public health, sanitation, and dignity. The Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, who was represented at the event by the Chief of Naval Transformation, Rear Admiral Monday Unuhiri, says the special quick intervention is to facilitate the attainment of the reinvigorated Nigerian Navy's civil-military cooperation mandate and to contribute to the ongoing federal government renewed hope agenda. It therefore urged the beneficiaries to use the facility responsibly while appealing to the people of the community to collaborate with the Nigerian Navy and other security agencies to eliminate security threats.
Avenues for the Nigerian Navy to honor its accomplished senior officers and an indication that beyond physically securing lives and properties, we are committed to serving the interests of Nigerians through other means.
The Niger State Governor Ahmed Umar Bako, who was represented by the Commissioner Homeland Security, retired Brigadier General Bello Mohammed, says the initiative demonstrates the practical value of civil-military relations which seek to build bridges between the armed forces and the community. He added that the borehole will alleviate the suffering of the people of Bayanwaya and transform daily lives, particularly for women, children, and farmers.
To respond to the people's real needs, especially in the area of water supply, has earned our administration and sincere gratitude.
The facilitator of the event, Chief of Naval Safety and Standard, Rear Admiral Abdul Majid Ibrahim, and the House of Representatives member representing Kotangura, Honorable Umar Sani Black, says the project shows a symbiotic relationship between the people of Bayanwaya community, the public, and the private.
So, my beloved people of Kontagora Emirate, this project is ours to cherish, maintain, and sustain. Let us take full ownership of it, ensuring that we positively partake in the success story of this project as it serves a purpose for the good of man and for the glory of God.
The water project is strategic in many aspects. It will end the water scarcity within the community and its environment, reduce the rate of waterborne diseases within the community, and ultimately improve personal hygiene of the people living in this community.
They, however, encourage the community leaders to be vigilant of saboteurs that might want to vandalize the facility. Kike Lomo Okeri, Global Television News.
The Armed Forces of Nigeria says it has neutralized scores of terrorists, including one of their leaders known as Nkwachi Eze, popularly referred to as Onowo, who has been on the wanted list of the military. The Director, Defense Media Operations, Major General Marcus Kange, made this known while addressing journalists on the operational activities of the armed forces in Abuja. Our defense correspondent, Kike Lomo Okere, has more on this.
The Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Marcus Kenge, reveals that Nkwachi Eze, otherwise known as Onowo, has been on the wanted list of the military, having responsible for coordinating series of attacks across the southeast. The troops have also taken into custody one Buhari Umar, a wanted suspected gun runner who also doubles as leader of the kidnapping syndicate terrorizing.
Troops of Operation Udoka have sustained offensive operations during the period under review. Between 30th April to 6 May 2025, troops while conducting offensive operations made contact with terrorists in Osu and Idiatu local government areas of Imo State, as well as Ihaila and Ogu local government areas of Anambra and Enugu State, respectively. During the operations, also, troops neutralized terrorists and recovered arms, ammunition, and some improvised explosive devices, making materials from them. Similarly, on the 1st of May, active on credible intelligence, the troops arrested a suspected criminal in Abu local government area of Enugu State. Arrested suspect was handed over to appropriate security authorities.
It further reels out that the troops of Operation Wild Stroke arrested a 5-man kidnapping syndicate in Lafia local government area of Nasarawa State and rescued 173 kidnapped hostages, while over 204 terrorists and members of their families surrendered to own troops. Also, in the South-South region, troops of Operation Delta Save foiled all theft worth over 1.9 billion naira.
Criminals include Hassan Mohammed, Saleh Sani, Idi Yusuf, Adamu Damai, and Hassan Bello. During the period, 430 perpetrators of oil theft, terrorists, and other criminal elements were apprehended. We have rescued 173 kidnapped hostages, while over 204 terrorists and members of their families surrendered to our gallant troops.
The Military High Command reiterated its commitment to remain focused in ensuring national security and welfare of its personnel as troops continue to put in more effort to safeguard the nation's territorial integrity and protect citizens from all forms of threats. Kike Lomo Okeri, Global Television News.
In business, U.S. President Donald Trump signaled that he could lower tariff on China's imports as the rival superpowers prepare for trade talks over the weekend. Trump wrote on his Truth social platform that 80% tariff on China seems right, which would bring them down from 145%, with cumulative duties on some goods reaching a staggering 245%. He added that it was up to Scott B., referring to U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who will confer with China's Vice Premier Li Fang this weekend in Geneva to try to cool the conflicts roiling international markets. Meanwhile, the International Monetary Fund (IMF) has confirmed that Nigeria has fully repaid the $3.4 billion COVID-19 financial support it got under the Rapid Financing Instrument (RFI). Senior Special Assistant to the President, Ortega Ogra, had posted a widely circulated post on X account sharing the good news of Nigerians' exits from the IMF debtors list. However, despite the confirmation, the government is still indebted to the multilateral organization to the tune of $30 million, which is the special drawing right charges. The Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria and the Petroleum Products Retail Outlet Owners Association of Nigeria says any ban on fuel importation could trigger scarcity and a hike in fuel prices. It could be recalled that President Bola Tinubu has directed that no procurement of foreign goods or services already available locally shall proceed without justification and a written waiver from the Bureau of Public Procurement. On the foreign scene, the Pentagon says the U.S. military will immediately start the process of removing some 1,000 transgender troops and will force out those who do not leave voluntarily by early June. President Donald Trump issued an executive order in January banning transgender military service, and the U.S. Supreme Court ruled this week that the ban could take effect while litigation challenging it plays out. Approximately 1,000 troops who identified as having gender dysphoria disease fall into that category, Pentagon spokesman San Pennell said in a statement. The new Pope Leo XIV has imparted his first to the city and the world, blessing in front of the crowd gathered on St. Peter's Square. Meanwhile, the United Arab Emirates has agreed to contribute a huge gas pipeline project that will connect Nigeria to Morocco and eventually reach Europe. Morocco's Minister of Energy Transition and Sustainable Development, Leila Benila, told lawmakers that the UAE is now one of the supporters of the project, which is estimated to cost $25 billion. Ben Ali also said that Morocco has finished all feasibility and engineering studies needed for the pipeline. And in sport, Liverpool boss Arne Slot says everyone at the club is disappointed by Trent Alexander-Arnold's decision to leave Anfield at the end of the season. The England right back, whose contract expires in June, announced on Monday he would be leaving Liverpool, a club he has been with since he was a young boy, with 26 years old saying, "It was easily the hardest decision I have ever made in my life." Slot has yet to speak directly to Alexander-Arnold since the announcement, only communicating via WhatsApp, but intends to hold face-to-face talks on Friday as he speaks to gauge how the player is feeling about the fallout, which has drawn a mixed reception from fans and pundits alike. And that's it on Global TV News Cycle. A quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and StarTimes channel 276. Kindly follow us across all our social media platforms now showing on your screen using @GlobalTVNG. You can download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcasts. I am Godwin Sunday. Thank you for watching.